Are these extremely well marbled ribs worth the hype? These are Duroc ribs, and they're widely used by top barbecue competition teams who swear that they are the best ribs that money can buy. But are they any better than regular old ribs we can get from the grocery store? We're gonna find out in this video, so let's get smoking. Welcome to the Smoke Lab, guys, the show where I do crazy barbecue experiments you would never do at home so you can learn from my trial and error. Duroc ribs, what are they? Well, according to the Compart Duroc website, Duroc is a breed of pork known for being reddish pink in color and containing higher percentage of intramuscular fat than other pork. But all Duroc is not created equal, and just because it's from the Duroc breed does not necessarily mean it's going to be really well marbled. It also depends on the unique genetics, breeding, and feeding of the particular farm or genetic line that the pig came from. And Compart Family Farms does all of these things and more very well, resulting in pork that has up to 2 times more marbling than other Duroc genetic lines. Basically, they took one of the fattiest breeds of pork and made it twice as fatty, making this basically the Wagyu of pork. And yes, I hear some people out in the audience saying, but Steve, Iberico pork is the Wagyu of pork. But just look at the marbling on these ribs, guys. Looks aside, I've gotten some top 10 calls in barbecue competitions. I've got some over there and some over there, and I just used regular old Costco pork ribs for that. So are these Compart Duroc ribs really gonna be that much better? To find out, I'm going to smoke this rack of Compart Duroc ribs and compare them to a regular rack of Costco ribs, and we're gonna see if the Duroc ribs live up to the hype. According to a quick Googling that's hopefully correct, but if you're a pig breeder or pig expert out there, you can feel free to correct me in the comments. Regular pork we buy from grocery stores is usually what's called white pig or landrace breed pig. So chances are these Costco ribs are from one of those breeds. Now, I'm going to apply some Oklahoma Joe's Kansas City style rub to the back of these ribs, and then I'm flipping them over and I'm doing the tops. While the rub soaks into those ribs, I'm heading outside to light up my Oklahoma Joe's Longhorn offset smoker. I'm just piling up some splits of Orchard Cherry in the firebox and lighting it with my Oklahoma Joe's charcoal lighter. Once the smoker is up to around 225 degrees, I'm placing the ribs on the smoker. I like to put the thicker ribs towards the firebox, and I also put the fattier, thicker side of each rack towards the firebox as well so they cook more evenly. 3 hours later, the ribs are probing at around 145 degrees, and then I'm laying them down on top of some clarified butter and wrapping them up into little foil packets. All the ribs are now going in the holding oven for 18 to 20 hours at 150 degrees. And yeah, I realize this is a super weird method, but I've been using it for a really long time. I have used a modified version to win some top 10 calls in barbecue competitions. I've made a couple videos on how I do it on my own channel, Smoke Trails Barbecue. And basically the reason that it works is I'm pulling the ribs at a super low temperature at around 145 degrees, which normally the ribs would be super tough. They would be inedible. But it's just enough so that they can get some smoke flavor. The bark has set up a little bit. They've got a little bit of color on them, but they barely lost any moisture at 145. Then I'm taking them off the smoker, I'm putting them in my holding oven for 18 to 20 hours at 150, and that's low and slow finishing them to perfect tenderness, and they just come out absolutely amazing and super juicy. Now, shortly before dinner the next day, I'm removing the ribs from the foil, and I'm giving them a good sear to sizzle up the top of the ribs and give them a kind of bacony grilled meat flavor. Then I'm saucing the ribs up. You can use your favorite sauce for this. It doesn't really matter as long as you like it. And then I'm letting them smoke for another 30 minutes to an hour to let the sauce tack up on them and also get a little bit more smoke flavor because we didn't really get that much at the early stage of the cook. These ribs are looking great, so it's time to eat. All right, guys, the moment of truth. I've got the control ribs here. These are the Costco normal ribs that I got from the grocery store. And these are the super fatty Duroc ribs. So we're gonna see if these are really worth the hype or if I should just stick with my normal Costco ribs. So I'm gonna flip these guys over. It's just a lot easier to see where the bones are and cut nice ribs when you do it this way. So I'm just gonna do a big old double rib here. And I'll give you guys a look. So it's got a really nice tacky, caramelized type surface with the sauce that I added. If you look at the interior, I'll give you the thick end here. It's super juicy. It looks really good. So let's take a bite of this bad boy. It's smoky, it's juicy. It pulls away cleanly from the bone. It's got a little bit of texture to it, but it still comes apart pretty easily, but it's not fall off the bone. It's the perfect rib for me. And this is the type of rib that has got me top 10 calls in a couple barbecue competitions now. Not very high in the top 10. I've been like 9th or 10th place, but I'm getting called with these ribs, so that says something. That was a super nice rib. I could eat that all day, but now it's time to take a look at the Duroc ribs. Take a look at that, guys. That is a thing of beauty. So it's been smoked, it's been held for 18 hours at 150, low and slow. It's been seared, it's been sauced, and then we smoked it as a final step to give it a little bit more smoke flavor and to tack up the sauce. And this is looking good. So I'm really excited because I don't think I've ever tried Duroc ribs. I suspect I probably tried them when I'm judging barbecue competitions because a lot of people use these type of ribs, but I'm really interested to see if they're gonna be worth the hype. They smell really good. I'll give you guys a look. It does look, I don't know, you guys tell me, it looks kind of juicier than the last one. It certainly looks really nice. Let's give it a taste. Oh yeah. Guys, this is really good. These are good, guys. These are really good. So what I would say about that bite is that it was probably about 50% better than the last bite of ribs that I had from the control ribs. It was just more ooey gooey in texture. Every bite was softer, kind of like when you bite into a really well-cooked pork belly. It just has that succulent explosion of fat and your teeth just sink right through it. There's still a little bit of texture to it and it's not fall apart. So this is perfect competition style texture, but it's just, the bite through is just softer, it's fattier, and there's little pockets of fat that kind of explode in my mouth. The other thing that I noticed is that it's a little bit, I wanna say sweeter. It just has more flavor in the meat itself than the other ribs that I tried. The other ribs, the pork flavor is there, but it's kind of more bland. And with these ribs, it's just really forward. It's got a sweeter pork flavor that tastes really good. I'm gonna take another one because I deserve it. So I'll give you guys another look here, and you'll notice that under my thumb, the top of the rib is meat. It's lean protein. But underneath it, there's a thin layer of fat. And I think that is the real game changer because once all of that fat is kind of rendered and soft and ooey gooey, you get these multiple layers of biting through the top, which is just protein, and then you get this explosion of fat, but it's only a thin layer. It's not a huge thick layer. And then you get into the meat itself, which is really well marbled, and it just tastes amazing. So let's give this a bite. Oh yeah, guys, that's so good. Again, you can see just how much more intramuscular fat there is in this rib. It just kind of oozes out. And now just for further control purposes, I'm going to try another rack of regular Costco ribs just to make sure that the one that I tried wasn't exceptionally bad or something like that, or not as well marbled as normal. So I'll give you guys a look. It looks like a really nice rib. And you can actually tell on camera here that this is a little bit less reddish than the Duroc ribs. It looks a little bit more white. A little bit of a tougher bite through because there's more protein to fat in the ratio of this rib. There's less intramuscular fat. It doesn't have that super sweet pork flavor that the Duroc ribs have. This has more of a subdued pork flavor. It's still extremely good though, and I'm gonna change my initial assessment where I said the Duroc ribs were 50% better. I'd say they're probably around 30% better. So the difference is really noticeable, and I think it would really make a difference in a competition, and I think your friends and family would probably notice the difference. I also think that because of all of the intramuscular marbling, it's gonna give you a wider margin of error if you accidentally overcook your ribs or something goes wrong during the cook. But they're not like transcendent or anything. I've had some barbecue that is like a religious experience for me, and I'm just like, oh, like it's so good. And these are really good and they're better than the regular ribs, but they're not like 100% better than regular ribs. They're probably like 30% better. So are Duroc ribs worth the hype? Yes, I think that Compart Family Farms Duroc ribs are definitely worth the hype. They're probably about 30% better than regular old ribs you could get at Costco. Are they worth the extra money? I think if you're in a barbecue competition, yes, 100%, because an extra 30% is going to be the difference between you getting not called in the top 10 at all and you getting a GC. But would I, as a backyard backyard barbecuer spend the extra money for them? I think I would as like a special treat or do it once in a while, but for my regular everyday ribs, I think the grocery store ones are just fine. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any ideas for future Smoke Lab videos, let me know in the comment section below. You guys have already given me some great ideas and I'm gonna use those for future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the Oklahoma Joe's YouTube channel. I will see you in the next video, and until then, happy smoking.